Okay, good morning everybody. I moved the chickens just this morning. It's like 6 o'clock. I started moving them like 5:30 or so. Moved the fence. The fence is on now. The chickens are still in there. They're awake, but they're not out yet. I need to get your feed and water in the pen. But we moved them over here because that compost pile right there they need to give it some attention. I probably won't let them here long because where that is over in that corner is kind of, I don't really like how it looks. The fence is up a little bit. Doesn't go down all the way, but we'll see how it plays out today. Maybe this evening or something I'll move that pile over a little further so I can get their fence to the ground. So I'm going to finish setting them up, getting their water ready, getting their feed in, and I'll give you a walkthrough of where they've been at in our yard and how the yard looks now. So they all come out, they all look good. They're just curious about their new surroundings. They do that a fair bit. When you move them to a new place, they come out kind of weird. They like to fly up on that handle. They so far haven't got out. They've got out once, but that's been a while back. Two of them did. They all never. It'll take them a little while to figure out things. Normally when they first get moved, the first thing they do is eat the grass, not the weeds, the grass they eat. I don't know why, but they must like the grass pretty good. They don't hardly eat anything else. We've had them for, I think they're 10 or 11 weeks old, maybe even 12 weeks old, I'm not sure. We've given them, the other night I gave them the 4th bag of feed, which each bag of feed's 40 pounds, so they've only eaten 120 pounds of feed since we've had them, not counting everything else, in 10 or 11 weeks. So this definitely helps us on the cost of what we pay to feed them. But it's good for the chickens too to get moved around. No one wants to live in their own poop, so why should the chickens? So they're all set up. They seem to be pretty content right now. When I come back after getting all their stuff, of course you've seen they were all over in that big pile over there. Looks like a few of them are going back over there. But they'll like it here for a few days. I won't let them here long. Thing is, you got to move them. You got to move their chicken tractor. I'm usually moving it every 2 days, but I think I'm gonna have to start moving it every single day. And then just keep moving the fence, move the fence behind it. I think that's what I'm going to start doing. I'll move that. I'll probably move it twice, then move the fence, and then move it twice, then move the fence. Little rundown on this. I know some of you've seen this already. I've been asked about it. So this here's just the premier one. The fence, the corners, the charger, all this premier one. This is not 100% sure. Not 100% sure how much juice that thing gives off, but it says in the thing that if it anything above 3200 volts is sufficient. But every time I check it, I always plug it in on this side. Let me turn it off so I don't get shocked. Just explaining this to you. Actually, it's not on yet. Just clips right on. Then you can use these to clip. You can use those to clip fences together. That's for the hot wire. Then the ground, it just clips on one of the feet. I don't know if you can see that real good or not. It just clips on one of the feet. So when I hook it up and turn it on, I have it hooked to this. I have it hooked to this end, going around that way, all the way around. It's 100 foot long. So I always hook it on whichever one I hook it on. I always test it on the total opposite corner. So when I plugged it in, I turned it on. I tested it here. So you stick your probe in the ground, then you stick your tester on this fence anywhere on these horizontals, not the verticals. And I usually get, this time I got 4.7. So that's what, 4,700 volts. Usually, of course, it's over here. It's pretty rocky. I had a hard time getting them down in. I had to use a hammer to drive them down in the ground. So normally I get like between 52 and 54, almost always. Just to give you a little rundown on that. They're still over there. They'll probably have that eat up today here sometime. So as far as where they were, this is where they were 2 weeks ago. I just moved them from down here 2 weeks ago. Most of those spots that you see are from where their food and stuff sets. So their chicken tractor would have sat here somewhere the first day, and then I would have moved it. And then right there where that spot is, that's where I didn't move it. That's when we went away for the weekend, and it sat there for 3 days. So you got to make sure you move it every no more than 2 days at most. It'll burn your grass, all the chicken poop. It'll come back. It ain't gonna hurt it, but it just looks ugly for now. So that right there. That spot right there is probably 2 weeks. Probably 2 weeks, maybe just a little over 2 weeks old. And then that would have been where they would have been moved at the second time. That would have been 2 days worth. And that's, like I say, that's 3 days. That's 2 days. But most of those spots, like I said, are from the, like right there, that spot there is from where their food's at. Burns the grass off. So this would have been, this spot here was 2 weeks ago. And it looks pretty green. It's pretty green and lush. It's filling back in. One thing that's pretty neat when you have chickens, we fed them some squash, some butternut squash. Obviously they didn't eat all the seeds because them things were coming up like crazy in our yard. Pretty neat. So before we had them down here, we had them up here. In this spot here, I left them right there too long too. I think I had them here for like 4 days, and it's almost growed back in. And then when I moved them, everywhere else I moved them to on this spot is pretty good. And so those 2 garden beds were clear full of weeds, if you remember. I don't know if I'm sure you've seen a video of it. They were clear full of weeds, so they cleaned all the weeds out of them. And these here, so now that's lettuce, fresh lettuce going in there, and that there's Swiss chard in that one. So definitely helped us get some of the garden started. It was just right here, so that's the compost. I need to rake it up and take it over and put it in the compost bin. See, there where their food was, they got a bunch of, they're not the neatest animals in the world, but for the most part, like that's where one of their dust baths was. This spot here didn't really have good grass in it anyways. We had wood chips dumped here last year. The grass was starting to come back, but it definitely ain't all the way back. And there were still some wood chips in that corner, and now they're here. And I raked them up twice, I think, maybe 3 times in the week they were here. And way back when they were here, if you remember right, they were here. and they had all them weeds pulled out of that. But now the weeds are coming back, which I don't really care a whole lot. They ate the hosta down for the most part. We got sunflowers growing that we never had growing before, so that's pretty cool. But everything else healed up pretty good, except the hosta. For some reason it didn't. The deer might have got in and ate some of that too, who knows. But there's a spot where the chicken tractor sat for like a week, and then I moved it over here and it sat there for about a week. So one thing to know is to move it more often. So this here's the worst place, and I learned my lesson then not to let it sit that long. I thought I could let it sit long enough till I moved them, and they were little when they were here too. Now they're way older. But anyways, that's pretty much a chicken update.